Because these videos, I'm trying to explain stuff to you. They're not a 5-minute TikTok reel or 60-second TikTok reel. I like to talk you through the paints. I like to tell you about the paints, what it says on the can. I like to give you my experience of actually applying it and feeling it, and hopefully from 20-25 minutes worth of a video of me explaining something, you will get actually a bit of a more of an insight into what that paint would be like. If you went out and bought it, you know what to expect. Welcome everybody, welcome to the channel. Now, you've seen the thumbnail. Scuff-X, oh what a controversial paint that is. Scuff-X from Benjamin Moore. We're here today. We're back with Doris the Door that you might have seen a while back, and I was trying out and seeing what Sticks was like, which is really the Benjamin Moore product, which is a grip primer for problem surfaces. It's down here somewhere. Is that problem surfaces, particularly going over previous gloss, oil-based gloss, you need a grip coat primer. Now Sticks, hand in glove, I said I'd be back, and I am back. I'm now using Scuff-X Semi-Gloss because we want to try out what the gloss is like, and I'm going to be doing it on Doris the Door. Now, probably a while back as well, I got Aurora Semi-Gloss. We tried that out. The difference between that and that, probably not a lot in it when it comes to a gloss level, because the gloss level of the semi-gloss was a decent satin finish. It wasn't a gloss. It was a 50 to 60% sheen level. But Scuff-X is really a paint that's for areas that you're wanting that resilience. You're wanting that resilience of getting banged, scuffed, and, you know, scratches. Scuff-X is your paint. Now, let's be honest, it's not cheap paint. None of these paints are cheap. In America, this is like the price of petrol. Gas, if you're watching in America, gasoline, price of petrol. Their price of petrol is quite cheap compared to ours. We're paying well over £100, around about £110 for that US gallon, which is the 3.79 litres. You might get it just under £100 if it's on offer. It's not cheap stuff. In America, they use Scuff-X as an emulsion, i.e. a wall paint, because it's cheaper. Over in the UK, we're using this as a woodwork paint, and I don't say it trim. It's because it's expensive. You're going to use it sparingly, i.e. not going to be using it for painting a room out where you might need 7.5, I don't know, 15 litres of paint at a time. We're using it for woodwork paint because of the cost, but you can use it for walls. Scuff-X is ideal in situations where you've got like a high traffic area. It might be schools, it might be hotels, it might be hospitals that you want a resilient paint. You can use it for that. But that said, I would say to you, always read the back of the can, always read the spec sheet, and always look on the website to see what it actually says about the paints and the do's and don'ts. I've got it down here. I've just pulled it up on my phone. We'll just quickly run down what you can get with using Scuff-X. Now, Scuff-X is available in a matte finish, an eggshell finish. It's available in a satin finish, and it's available in the semi-gloss. Now, I know some of you are going to say, Phil, we're noticing I've got an older tin here. That's what Scuff-X used to look like, and this is what the new tins look like. So if you've got those, has this changed? I'm not sure. That's just a side question, just answers on a postcard. But no, let me just quickly have a rundown of what it says so we don't miss anything. I'm looking at it as a Scuff-X semi-gloss. The spec really for the matte, the eggshell and the satin is very similar. We've got proprietary scuff resistance formulation, proprietary chip resistant technology, single component paint, it's washable, superior durability and block resistant. I'm not saying this will be stopping your knots, but it might stop stains that are on a surface. Just be mindful of that. It's quick drying, touch up. It's great for touching up, splatter resistant, easy application. You've probably seen my videos before. I've always said it's a very good, easy application sort of paint. We've got low odor, there's next to no smell with it. It's a low VOC, water based, so there's no chemicals in it that high as a kite. It also contains antimicrobial additives, is that the word? Can't read, it's just gone off. It's for interior uses, not an exterior paint. Soap and water cleanup, and I've always said to you, just rinse your brush out or your roller, your spray equipment with cold water first before you start increasing that temperature to a lukewarm with a touch of detergent in it, and then just rinse out with cold water again. Available in 3,500 Benjamin Moore colours. This is a semi-gloss, which is actually saying a 40 to 60%. Now, there's a big gap between 40 and 60, so which is it? Is it more the 40 or is it the 60? Click here for more information about it. Yeah, she knows. We know that, right? Matte, eggshell, satin, semi-gloss, we're covering it. So all in all, let's give it a go. We've got Doris coated up. If you remember the previous video, I'll try and remember because it seems ages ago since I did this. That was a Mirinol oil gloss, a problem surface for a lot of paints to go over oil-based paints, particularly when you're doing water-based paints. You might find you're going over an oil-based paint that's previously been painted. You're going over it with a water-based paint, and the surface tension, there's a difference. And you might go over with a water-based paint and it scissors. It's like painting on a candle. Now, if you go with that oil base, give it a rub down like I have done, and then stick to a sticks, we're going to go with sticks, and go over it with a grip coat paint, i.e. the sticks, you'll find that it doesn't sis. It's not like painting on a candle, and that's why you're going to use a specialist grip coat paint for going over problem surfaces that are shiny, glossy, an oil-based gloss. So we spoke about that on the last video. Please look at the link in the corner. But no, what I did say, I will be using the semi-gloss Benjamin Moore Scuff-X. We'll do it on Doris the door. This will be a good test for it for the opacity and coverage, because I want to see what the opacity is like going over a non-pre-primed undercoated section, which is that. Going over it, what it's like with only one coat of that sticks, and then clearly the rest of the door is coated with 2 coats. So we're going to see what it's actually like top to bottom, and we'll see what that sheen gloss level's like. Back to the basics. I've got a kettle. I'm working from one side of the kettle, like I've told you before, and I'm sticking with the same brush because we're using the same brush for continuity to test these paints out, and product testing is in that corner as well. We've got the Knorr Heritage brush, which does seem a very nice brush for applying paint. Now, I won't speak through this because what I'll do my top section like I normally do. I'll do the moulding and the panel, go to the next section, the moulding and the panel, and then I will drop down to the moulding and the panel where we've got no sticks, do all the panels, and then I will come back after I've coated it up and we will see what that first coat for opacity is like. I'm fingers crossed hoping that on where we've got 2 coats, because this door was obviously a dark blue, where we've had 2 coats of sticks, I'm expecting and hoping that 2 coats of semi-gloss on the Scuff-X will actually have a nice opacity coverage and not needing a 3rd coat, because if that's the case, it'd be 3 coats of Scuff-X and it's actually 2 coats of sticks. That'd be an interesting one. If you did watch that video before using Aurora Semi-Gloss, the properties of this, and I'll just recap on this because the difference between this and using Scuff-X, this is still a decent hard-wearing product, and you'd use it for your woodwork again. You could quite possibly use it on your walls if you wanted. The Aurora's got the colour the colour lock technology, its colour richness and longevity. Now this is an acrylic paint and that washed out really nicely. The drying times were pretty good, very much like what Scuff-X is. Scuff-X, you'll find that it's probably dried within an hour and your recoat time really 4 hours. I find when I'm using the satin stroke eggshell finishes of Scuff-X, depending on your conditions, you might find that you're recoating before 4 hours. But I would say to you, if you are doing a house or if you're doing a room, the next day for coating up always seems to be a nicer surface to work over. It's because it's dried, it's gone harder, and it's actually a pleasure to paint over. But no, I'm not going to speak now. We're going to get coated up. You'll see me do the coating up. We'll fast forward, and then I'll come back to see what it's like after I've done it. So catch you in a bit. Okie dokie, that was the first coat going on, and let's put my paint down. And I'll say it again, what a dream that paint is to apply. It's I want a Porsche, but I'm a bit of a Porsche on a budget person. I've got Subarus at home, so I'm going to give the analogy or analogy. It's like driving. A bad driver, particularly driving a Subaru, a bad driver can look good driving a Subaru because it's a very forgiving car, four-wheel drive, easy to steer. I'm on about proper sports cars, not the basic ones, but this is very similar. Applying your paint, if you've got low skill levels, I'm using the term lightly, low skill levels for applying paint, this goes on dead easy. Bit like driving a Subaru. If you've got low skills on driving, it can make you look a professional. But let me tell you, get it wrong, do it wrong, it can go wrong big time. Currently, like driving a Subaru, if you flipping crash it, you've obviously done something wrong. If you've painted that door and you've had too much paint on your brush, you've not been aware of where your creeps could be, you would get runs and it could look shocking. But if you've got the skills, clearly I've got the skills, haven't I? I've got the skills. If you know how to apply paint correctly, that will make you look like a god or a goddess when it comes to paint application. And I've done it with a brush. If you've got a roller, you can mini rollers, just something down here, microfiber mini rollers, something like that, you'd get away with blue murder. But all in all, that's not gone on bad at all. I'll try and zoom you in a minute. I don't know whether you can see. That only had one coat of primer. Still see a bit of shadowing through it. The one with no coat, you know when I said about sissing over a glossy surface, I can just see a little bit of sissing because you've got a water-based paint going over a previously oiled glossy surface, and it is a little bit, the analogy is painting on a candle, wax crayons. It's not going to happen. But all in all, that's gone on really well. Just one thing to mention, did you know Benjamin Moore, Benjamin Moore do a paint conditioner. So if you are painting areas that are quite a bigger expanse, if you've got big panel doors, you might want to add a little bit of paint conditioner into it if you're using a little roller or something like that. But that said, it is a very forgiving paint. Always try your paint out before you start adding anything to it. I'd say with emulsions, if you are doing emulsioning, if you are using any sorts of paints, try it before you start going hell for leather applying it, because you might find that it doesn't need any paint conditioner in it. It doesn't need any water in it to make it easier to apply. It might go on actually quite nice anyway on the substrate, the surface that you're actually applying it. But all in all, that's not bad at all. I will see what it's like when it's dry. I will come back and give it a second coat. I'll do that off camera so we don't bore you. But all in all, that's not too bad. I will be interested to see what it dries like, particularly over the areas that have been two coated with that sticks. We were going over a dark colour. Will it need a third coat? We will see. Let's fingers crossed, hope not. We're using a brush because we want to see what it's like with brush application. Somebody might be screaming at the screen now saying, Phil, if you'd used a roller, that would have gone for 2. And I'm definitely going to have people that are going to say, if you'd used oil base, you'd have gone for 1 over an undercoat. But that said, we're not doing that, are we? Can't remember the last time I used oil-based paint other than probably using it, sampling it with the Mirinol. And I'm going to give a shout out to Molly. Thank you very much, Molly. She's my local Benjamin Moore rep. This isn't a paid sponsorship video. It's not product endorsed or anything like that. But I said on my previous videos using the Aurora, I did catch up with Molly at a trade show recently. Well, recently, it seems ages ago. And she did say she'd send me some samples out, and true to her word, she has actually sent me some samples out, and that's why I'm trying them now. And I'm going to give a big shout out to Ben Adams as well. He's also the guy that you've probably known if you're in the decorating trade. He's been with numerous companies over the last number of years. I've known Ben Adams for a long while now, from his days of Tickerilla. If I've got any questions or queries about product, or I want to know a little bit more about something, he's always at the end of a phone text, or I can ring him and just get some advice if I need advice from the paint rep from Benjamin Moore. So shout out to Molly and Ben. They've been very helpful to me and very much supporters of the channel, which I do like. Thank you very much. Hockey docky, as Manuel would say. I'm back, and I'm actually back 24 hours after I spoke to you last, so we've gave it a good chance to dry off properly. I'm going to say to you straight away, don't buy this if you think you are buying something that has got a decent gloss level. It says semi-gloss on the tin, and that's how you've got to approach it. It is a semi-gloss finish, i.e. a decent satin. I've been doing my samples, you know what I talked about earlier, samples on a piece of laminate flooring. I've got 1 coat on, I've got 2 coats on, and we've gone to a 3rd coat just there. And not bad for 3 coats, is it, over that grey colour? What's it like on that door, where we've had some blue, we've had some sticks. Oh, there's a song there, something about sticks, but never mind. I'm going to bring you off the camera and we will have a quick look to what I think. I'm going to tell you straight off, this paint washes out a treat. There's no issue with washing your brush out. It goes on fantastically. I've got no creeps, I've got no runs. You work it as you do, as you know, I can work a brush. So application wise, it's really good. It still feels a little bit, probably a little bit cold in here. Temperature's dropped. It doesn't feel bad at all to put your hand on it to warm it up. It is a scuff resistant paint, as we know. But what's it like for the opacity? Let's get to the crux of it. Let's have a look. I'm going to bring you off the camera now. Right, we know that that panel was there, is 2 coats, aren't we? 2 coats over the blue. That panel was there, 2 coats over 1 coat of sticks. You can just see it. Can we see it? Yeah, it's not too bad over the 1 coat, just a little bit there, but the rest of the door was properly 2 coats of sticks over that blue, which was a dark blue. What's it like? you can probably just see it. There's a little bit of grinning around these mouldings, a little bit there. Can we see that? I hope we can see that. Slightly on the flats. I would say we need a third coat on that door to be happy with it. So that would be 3 coats of Scuff-X over 2 coats of sticks over that blue Mirinol, Tikkurila Mirinol. Now, if we were going over a door that was previously a satin white, I don't think we'd have any problems at all with 2 coats of the Scuff-X. But finish wise, can we just see what this finish is like? You can see it there. It's a decent satin finish. I'm going to say to you now, if you want a decent satin finish and you're a little bit unsure with the mattes, the eggshells and the satin, if you want to know that you're actually getting a decent satin finish, I'm going to say to you, these semi-glossers are probably the ones that you want to be looking at. So my conclusion is, yes, I do like the paint. I do like the Benjamin Moore products. The opacity is probably lacking when you're going over dark colours, which a lot of manufacturers are exactly the same. You're very hard pushed to actually get a manufacturer that's got a decent quality, let's call it a thick opacity when it comes to white paint. But saying that, if you were going over something that was lighter, going over a white, you won't have any problem. If you were going over something that's a change of colour, if you've got a deep, I don't know, something like a counter cream or a magnolia, I would say to you, give it a coat of something first. Use something like sticks to try and blank out and get a grip base coat going before you put your top coats on. Or what do? Give it 3. Gear up that you're giving it 3. But I know what you're saying to me. Phil, how much is this paint? We're looking around about that £110 for that US gallon, aren't we, in the UK? Are we being ripped off in the UK? America gets it a lot cheaper. That said, still a very good paint. If you've not tried it, give it a go.